The backlash against the woke Snow White live-action bastardization from Disney just continues to grow. And sometimes when you see these things, when you see this trailer that gets released by Disney, the first official teaser trailer for Snow White starring Rachel Zegler, if you didn't know anything and just came across this on YouTube and you're like, holy shit, what is going on? Nearly 1 million dislikes with just over a week of release for this movie. You might be thinking to yourself, how did all of this happen? How did we get to this point where there's so much backlash for this movie? And it's kind of a long story because it really started over a year ago. And really, when you look at Disney, when you look at all the virtue signaling they've done, back in 2021, when they announced that Rachel Zegler was going to be starring as Latina Snow White, that they were so proud, that they virtue signaled so hard. Same time they said that Halle Bailey was going to be Black Little Mermaid, by the way. A lot of people had questions about the motivations behind that, but, some people said, well, I guess we'll see what happens. Well, now we know what's happened so far. And from the very first leaked images we got on set, there has been massive backlash. Remember this back in July of 2023 when we saw the first thing from the set. And this certainly started getting people wondering, what is this? This looks like trash. What is this? The politically correct companions? Did they just change all the dwarves to look like these people? And that was only worsened when Disney came out and said, no, that's fake. Those aren't real images. And then we're forced to admit that, yes, they're real, but it's a little misleading because they're stand-ins. They're not the actual actors. They're doing some pickup shots, blah, blah, blah. As we found out later on, the dwarves were going to be significantly changed. This isn't exactly what the dwarves are going to look like. The dwarves are CGI and are actually going to be standing behind Snow White. This is a different group of very diverse companions for this movie. But then Rachel Zegler happened. And that really is where the controversy started to take off to the next level. Because Rachel Zegler, very young, very opinionated, and now someone who feels entitled to speak out about anything and everything. Somebody who at a very young age was handed these opportunities. And she decided that she was going to make it all about her and that she did not care what type of backlash came back on Disney while doing that. Rachel Zegler gets viral backlash as comments about Snow White remake resurface. Because after we saw these things and people were questioning what's going on, what exactly are they doing with the Snow White movie? People then discovered what Rachel Zegler herself had said about this movie, and it really rubbed people the wrong way. I think we all remember this one, don't we?
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to
Young people everywhere. You didn't get the hint already? It's for a modern audience, okay? It's not all right that she has a love interest, that she wants to get married. It's not okay. She has to be a powerful, strong, independent woman on her own. And if you didn't think that's the way they think, well, there was always this interview.
Your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
So, of course, we're not going to do that. That's so weird, right? Who would be looking for true love's kiss? Definitely not my version of Snow White. And, of course, we also heard from Rachel Zegler that she was, scared, that she didn't really like it.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So.
Now, of course, that would run contrary to some of the other things she said about like, oh, I loved Snow White as a kid so much. Oh, I love the ride so much, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, she gets caught in all of these lies that she has stated. And of course, you can look at all of these different interviews. Just look at the ratios for each and every one of these Rachel Zegler interviews. And that was before the actor's strike. So the actor's strike then happened. And Rachel Zegler, while she couldn't talk about Snow White, she decided to talk about how entitled she was.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
That didn't rub people the right way either. So what did Disney do? You know, they decided we need to do some damage control right now. People think that those weird fucks are the dwarves. People hate Rachel Zegler. Let's do some damage control. Let's release our first ever look at our live action Snow White. And they gave us this weird, creepy fucking image. They let everybody know, hey, by the way, we didn't do real dwarves, right? Because we thought that'd be offensive. We did CGI dwarves. You guys love this, right? And it looks creepy as fuck. So that didn't help things either. The backlash only continued to get worse. So finally, they decided, you know what? We need to have Rachel Zegler go out there. We need to have her backtrack on all the things she said. We need to have her, you know, in a position where it's more controlled. We can edit these things. Have her and Halle Bailey there, Black Little Mermaid, Latina Snow White, and they can just talk about how much they love Disney, how much they love all these things, and everything will be perfectly fine. That didn't go over too great for them either, if you look at the ratio here. Then they said, you know what? Disney's like, let's just keep it fucking quiet. This movie's costing us over $300 fucking million. This is going to be a catastrophic flop at the box office. Can you please just shut the fuck up? We're not going to say anything about Snow White for a while. And they didn't. They didn't say a damn thing about Snow White until they debuted the teaser trailer at D23. I'm sure they hoped the backlash had faded. I'm sure they hoped that people had forgotten about all of these things. And you know what? Maybe a few people did. Maybe a few people saw this trailer, you know, the 72,000 that liked it compared to the almost million people who disliked it. Maybe some people saw this trailer and thought, hey, we'll give it a chance. Let's see. That was a long time ago that she said those things. Maybe they've learned. Maybe they're not as retarded anymore. Time will tell. Didn't take very long, did it? For Rachel fucking Zegler to once again show Disney she doesn't give a fuck about if they want her to stay quiet, if they want her to stay in a controversy. She's going to say whatever the fuck she wants. And you know what? Are young, woke actresses in Hollywood going to have liberal opinions? I bet a lot of them fucking are. And that's just to be understood. I wouldn't be, that's not shocking to me. That shouldn't be shocking to too many people. It's when you decide to attach pretty inflammatory, divisive political rhetoric to your post promoting Snow White that probably makes Disney put their hands in, or put their head in their hands and say, when the fuck will this bitch shut up? That's what a lot of people are thinking right now. Because if she had just said, hey, thank you to the fans, that's awesome, that'd be one thing. And she's tweeted Free Palestine before. She's tweeted stuff like this before. That's not shocking for a lot of these young woke actresses. But to attach it to the promotion of your trailer is just fucking retarded. It's going to take a lot of people that may have been willing to give it a chance, look past all the controversy, another opportunity. Hey, I'll give it a chance. We'll see what happens. Until you show that you actually haven't learned anything. You don't know how to keep your fucking mouth shut. There's been so many twists and turns, I guess, to this saga over the past year plus that it is hard to remember that all of these things actually went down. And these things, of course, had a timeline of themselves, had a life of their own, these stories in the media, these stories that Disney was forced to respond to. And all along the way, Rachel Zegler was replying snarky ways, clapping back, going after fans and shit like that, trying to play victim over and over and over again. And all Disney wants to do probably is just release this and get it over with, because ultimately the budget's probably going to be well over $350 million, closing in on $400 million. And considering the flop we had at the box office with The Little Mermaid live action just last year, I can't imagine, with all of the shit that's going down for Disney and Rachel Zegler and Snow White, I can't imagine this is going to do any better. And it is going to be a multi-$100 million failure for Disney.